All right, now good evening, everybody. Let's do the sound, the visual audio check. Me and Nick and we had a nice little test run, and I forgot to click the start button, so we already had a conversation, and this is take two on our end.
Hopefully everyone can hear and see me. Yeah, we had a nice little play run there. That was fun. Had a nice conversation for a minute or so before we realized we weren't actually
We were
live.
just talking about how difficult it is sometimes, and all the stuff that's going behind the scenes that nobody gets to see. And hopefully everything's going to be going smooth. Preparing for the TopstepTV takeover starting tomorrow morning. Nick's going to be a part of that. He's going to be joining me, I believe, on Thursday. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick.
Yep, I will be joining you Thursday morning for our whatever we want to call our version of Fast Markets is going to be, and then Friday for an extended power hour where we're going to have to come up with something fun since there's no reversal challenge. I'm sure we can find something good.
Yeah, maybe we do our own reversal challenge. This morning we were talking about that, and I was even having a conversation with Eddie, is seeing about getting us a little reversal challenge on our own to do something fun, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's just jump to it. We have the presidential debate going on tonight. It's been a long day for me. It's going to be even a bigger day tomorrow, so most likely we're going to be ending the stream a little bit early to prepare for the big day. However, Topstep risk disclosure is in the YouTube chat, and go ahead. It's that link. Click on it, memorize it. This is not a signals class. This is for educational purposes only. And Danielle is in the chat. We are leaving the best. I don't know about the best, Danielle, but certainly the funnest. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. And maybe we'll have some creative stuff throughout while you guys are gone. It's going to be I don't know. It's going to be really great or just really bad. Hopefully we could start putting up, I don't know, can we beat the normal day numbers?
I mean, we full port the house account. We might get a few viewers here and there, but no, I think it's going to be a fun exercise for you and I and Rips and D and Jay, everyone else who's joining you, Eddie behind the scenes. I know we're trying to get some of the team that's going to be kind of in and out in meetings and hanging out with us. So I think we're in good hands. I think we'll be okay. We'll figure it out. I think you and I are more than capable of kind of holding down the fort a little bit.
Yeah, definitely capable. Traders first, and then trying to learn this influencer producer world. I'll take the compliments where I could get them, Danielle, at this time. Where, man, we'll see, right? I'm excited, a little bit nervous, seeing how less about the trades and more about making sure everything goes good, and the Topstep crew comes back and everything's just not burnt down. Kind of one of those situations. I think we got it though. I'm excited.
Andrew says blindfolded reversal challenge.
Yeah, we could be creative. We can we have a party.
5 minis instead of 5 micros. No,
I mean,
it'd be a great way to blow a 150 account in 10 minutes.
Should we get a combine and see if we can pass a combine during a reversal challenge?
Or at least get halfway there. Or do we go full port to see if we can get 9K?
Reversal with 5 minis. I wouldn't be up. I mean, let's try it. I know Jack.
I'm not saying I haven't done it. It's just probably not the best strategy.
Hey, Jack's been doing it. He's been doing really well. And I don't know. There's something when it comes to that consistency. Every single time I watch that reversal challenge, Jack has been in the positive.
Yeah, Jack made some money on the old, I think the ZB trade today. That was fun to see. It's always entertaining when we throw on a bond trade at the 1 o'clock central hour when markets are not moving. So he had a good time today.
Did he do it in a live account too?
He did it in the house account, or one of them. The house accounts are his. Yeah, I think he made $1,000, maybe $2,000, all said and done.
2,000 on a ZB trade.
It was like a 10 lot, so I think he peeled off one for like 2 ticks.
Well,
that's ZB.
That's ZB.
Maybe it was ZN. I don't know. I don't trade bonds.
I mean, all those bombs have that really thick order book. But let's get started. jump in here if you see or have anything to add to this. We're going to start out with our rapid fire. We're going to go really quick as always. And let's start on the daily on the NASDAQ. We do have news tomorrow. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more consolidation. I mean, a consolidation, waiting, everyone. I don't know. Are we going to see some volatility tonight too with the presidential debate? I don't know. Do you have experience with that, Nick?
I don't remember because I was actually watching the debate and not the markets when Trump and Biden won. Biden did his, but then I just remember the next day being rather bullish just because I think of Biden's performance, how everyone felt about it after that, pretty much locked in a Trump victory. So I don't exactly know how much volatility we will get, given that it's CPI the next day, and they can say any sort of word vomit they want on stage. I don't think it's going to move the markets too much, but we may just be waiting for CPI. But I guess the real question to you is, did you trade this afternoon? Did you long off that low we had? We pretty much just shot out a cannon on NQ about 300 points off that low. So I was curious if you caught that.
I really wish I did, Nick. I wish I was watching it. I came back to the markets and I did see that, and everyone knows which direction I like to trade. I did catch a little bit of the power hour where Adobe and them was trading. They were getting into a long, but that was after we just shot out of a rocket. I think it was like 200 points. I came back and I'm like, dang, missed opportunity. That's kind of been the story of this week. I'm positive this week, so don't get me wrong. It's been a great week so far, but I've left a lot on the table, either just missing out on the trade, being a little bit slow to the entry, and it's definitely the kind of market that I love. And going through this on the daily, you could see on Friday we'd had that huge sell-off down from basically 18,900s, and that was one of the ugliest days. I mean, we've had quite a bit of ugly days the past month and 2 months, but it was another one. And we're starting off this week. We've almost recovered all of what happened on Friday, and we've recovered that not in just one direction. It just didn't just go straight up, which is nice. It's gave us a lot of decent volatility and opportunity to get into this market. One keynote, like you said, we have the news tomorrow. We are bumping up against resistance. This was major support and resistance. And then again, last week on Wednesday and Thursday, this was acting as support and resistance. So this is an interesting level going into tomorrow, and that with the CPI and news that everybody's waiting on, it's going to be interesting to see if we just, this support is acting as resistance. Do we have a move back down, and this is just a pullback in what can be a longer trend, or just a pullback on the move, and we see a continuation down towards this 18,000 level? Or are we going to break through this, and the next thing we're going to be trading 19,000s again?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting spot. You saw a pretty good size, iceberg into the close right around, the SPX like 5,500 level. You saw some we've been seeing some passive sellers there since like Thursday of last week as well. And we had talked, I think you said the same thing I did on Sunday, where I was pretty bullish going into the start of this week. And we pretty much have gotten the entire move I was relatively expecting. Like I thought we would at least retrace about 50% of last week. We're almost there. But it could still creep up a little higher, but CPI is probably what's, maybe going to potentially make that decision, but who knows? I actually took a short because I knew I was coming on with you. I took a short near the highs of Globex and actually just covered. So I did want to call that out too.
That's kind of how it has been. Let's share your screen. Talk me through that. I'm curious. I am the highs of Globex. So there's your chart. I noticed, over the past few days, every time I start my slow markets, we've been selling off, it feels like 100 points, and then we just recover that. And did that just happen? Because I'm looking at this on the hourly chart and the last hour candle.
We dropped about 50 points.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. I was kind of just, off the top of the end of the day range, just given all the iceberging there, figuring we may kind of retrace some of that move from power hour. So naturally, since I was actually going to be looking at the markets, and if you guys have heard me on this show or heard me on my show, I don't trade Globex. I'm the worst Globex trader in existence at Topstep. But I saw an opportunity. I saw us kind of fail, towards those highs of the day and started to kind of retreat a little bit backwards. So I jumped in short, took a little scalp for about $2,000 here.
Oh, wow. Nice.
That's a relatively large scalp, but we
Yeah,
got the move.
a little scalp for
quick.
2,000. I mean, what size were you trading?
I built into a 3-lot pretty quick.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's not too big of a size. And I think I'm always looking for ways to show traders where you don't need to be trading 5, 10, 15 contracts to make good money. 1, 2, 3 contracts, you can make good money in a volatile market. And this market has been very volatile. I mean, especially for this session where you could say, I scalped $2,000 on 3 contracts during Globex. It's quite
pretty good start to my day for tomorrow. So if I even do trade, we'll see what the aftermath of CPI is. But yeah, that was just something kind of building into, and you took it. I was not looking to be greedy. We got a quick flush, so I jumped out.
Fair enough. Lock it up, be done. Take tomorrow off.
Yep.
Sometimes you wish you've done that. I've done it before where I've made money during my slow markets or a trade that's went overnight, and then I trade the New York session. I end up giving it back, and I say, "Gosh, I really wish I would have just locked out." But yeah, you never know. I mean, it's the same. We had that conversation with the house account where the house account's either up or down, and they're like, "Yeah, let's just lock out." And then Power Hour, there was some amazing trades set up, and we started to see that more recently, where some of the better trades have been coming after the New York session open, right around lunch. I think we were just talking about that, where we had that nice sell-off down to basically 18,600 and then just a 200-point rally.
Yeah, and it was a relatively clean bottom. Like, you didn't get any crazy volatility, even on NQ, where it knifes back down, makes a new low, and kind of wicks you out. It was a pretty stable one that you could have long felt pretty comfortable with and just kind of rode it. It really never retraced, once it kind of built out of that low. So pretty safe, long opportunity, right? Like you said, right around lunchtime, 12 p.m. Central, we pretty much got that reversal and never looked back.
It seems like that never happens when we're actually trading it, though.
I know. I'm nervously like, nah, maybe I don't like this. And I kind of shake myself out of it.
We've seen this morning where it's just chop and then, but yeah, it's pretty clear. This is an hourly chart, and switching back to mine. Yeah, we can see it. There's a lot of support that's held up there, and then sure enough, right around lunchtime, we came down there and reversed. And you said it was a clean reversal? Let me look at the 5-minute chart. And oh man, that is clean. That is as clean as it gets.
You got the wick and just kind of started some little volume build down there, and then it took off.
Yeah,
nothing that would have wicked you out of it.
Yeah, and looking at that, I don't see anything that would have wicked. Yeah, like you said, wicked you out of it. Trailing it, a beautiful trade to trail, and these always look so good when you're reviewing them, right? I mean, there's a beautiful example of a 3-bar reversal, and yeah, it's easy to say that I would have taken this and could have made the entire move by trailing it, but I know that most likely I would have been looking to buy the breakout of this, and yeah, I just wasn't watching the markets at that time.
Yeah, but it's a good example. I mean, even with size too, like, I got chopped up trading 2 and 3 lots during kind of the first hour of New York, just given how messy it was. I know you guys had a little trouble too, kind of getting off the ground, and then you got a good winner on the short. I was trying to still short in the 800s, which in hindsight, looking at that high from the early part of the day, is a great location. But I got stopped out, wicked out, in and out a few times, and then finally got a move, but took profit very quickly because, it just made me a little nervous watching that. And I've shorted those type of highs many times and gotten absolutely run over in the opposite direction for 100 points.
Yeah. What other markets have you been trading? Have you been just focusing on NQ?
NQ, yes, a little bit in my personal, as well as, in some combines too. It's just been pretty clean to trade. I think part of that is just the spread has gotten a little tighter with SPX as we head into rollover at the end of the week and into Sunday. So, there's been some pretty decent price action. And when the spread gets tight, you can kind of just lean on, you can look at SPX a little more, and then the option levels make a lot more sense. So I've been trying to trade at ES just because NQ has been pissing me off lately.
Fair enough. I've been actually trading ES a little bit more lately as well. since we've been trading in the house account. And yeah, I'm seeing the similar setup here on ES where we've had that nice sell-off. And it doesn't seem like whether we're trading NQ or ES, that was a nice clean buy the dip opportunity if someone was brave enough to buy a 3-bar reversal. Crude oil. And I think I might have asked you this before. Do you trade crude oil? Have you watched it? What's your thoughts on it?
No, I really don't. I've traded every once in a while. It's one of those where I tried to start learning it and watching it. And sometimes it trades very technically and very clean. And then, there's, I guess, periods like this where this is the reason I don't trade it. It's, I had a read on Sunday night just because naturally we all trade it. So I'm trying to, provide how you can do market prep, and Crude decided to punch my market prep, my long opportunity that I was looking at, I think off like 69, like punched me in the face with that idea. Cause we are just melting. And I think
we are
a lot. And there was some news, I think Eddie was talking about it this morning. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but it's just a bit of a hot mess when you see some of these violent sell-offs and then it just chops around when I think you were trying to get a breakout on Monday off one of those lows. Maybe it was like 68 or something and just got punched in the face. It's just a violent instrument sometimes.
Yeah, and I think this is just one of those situations, and I'm just right there with you. During the New York session today, I was looking for a sell-off. I think it was, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was on a smaller time frame with just a quick scalp that worked out really well. But the way that I believe that I trade on the slow markets and the way that you view the market, and from my understanding, we've just sold off so far so fast. It's very hard to say, I want to short this. It's very hard to find areas to short this. And then you don't want to be buying, right? I mean, yes, we are getting down to some multi-year lows where we're at the lows of, 2023, 2022, approaching these $64, $65 a barrel. And you don't want to be shorting down here, but then it's just as scary to try and buy this, right? Because today happened where you're like, we've been selling off, and the next thing you know, what is this, a $4 drop, $3 drop, and these are violent moves. And this is a true falling knife. These are true falling knife when someone's in this type of a market.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone in the chat has had success trading CL this week or even last week. It's hard to look at that and feel confident in any direction right now until it stabilizes a little bit or builds some aspect of a base.
Yeah, I'm gonna have.
I thought we were getting that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask Dee when I have her on this week, because I know Dee trades crude oil. She was originally a crude oil trader, so I'll be curious on her. Why CL would be behaving this way? I to be honest, what would be some of the reasons? Political news. That's just sometimes that's how this market could react. Political news, geopolitical. I know there's a lot of tension that's going on, and anything can happen. Crude oil is not as bullish as the regular indices that we trade, where I don't know. I don't really go into in depth of why moves are happening. Typically, I just wait for the moves to happen and I just react. I mean, that's kind of what traders do, right? The market knows before I would ever find out anyway in the first place. Looking at NASDAQ here. Switching back our focus on NASDAQ, and it's coming up on the 8 p.m. Central. The debate's going to be starting. Do you have any questions for me, Nick? I know we've been on screen on Mondays, and I'm hoping to have you join me on Tuesdays a little bit more often. And I know you don't trade slow markets, but what do you typically do at this time of night?
Get away from the markets. I try to relax a little bit, guys. I've been really in the weeds, and I'm talking like bell to bell in front of screens and markets probably since late 2022, and then it became full-time job for me like the middle of last year. And so with that in mind, and me really looking at these and this being my main source of income, my own trading, I really try to take time away from charts and screens and just knowing your own statistics and knowing that I usually lose money in the hours of, 5 p.m. Central to 7:30 Central. It's not my type of market. I need the volatility. I need some speed. I like to be in and out of trades relatively quickly. I do hold them in different accounts, not necessarily Topstep and, things like that, but I like to just relax. I like to cook. I like to eat. I like to watch a little TV and go to bed early and come back fresh. So I don't usually like to watch Globex. Naturally, I get pinged. I get texts from trading buddies and things saying, "Are you seeing this stuff?" or whatever's happening overnight. And I'll look, but me actively trading, it's just not my kind of type of day. But
Yeah.
But what about you? I know you do. When you enter trades, I guess during these hours, are you more limit order a specific area with a set defined stop? I know you used to do that. I think when you were slinging a little size at times, you were kind of adding some limit orders and going to sleep. But
yeah, back when the markets were not as crazy. Markets are always quite crazy, and it goes through its cycles. I wouldn't say actively trading, because to me, when someone says, "Oh, I'm actively trading right now," typically I lean towards like the scalping, the New York session. The markets are moving fast. You're in and out. You're managing a trade. You're focused. To me, this has been and this is why I love slow markets, Nick, is that it's a lot more relaxed, where I'm looking at higher time frames. Hourly, a 5-minute chart is usually the lowest time frame on putting in, limit orders, buy stop orders, seeing if there's any major support and resistance, seeing what happened for the day, and then putting on, for example, a stop order saying that between now and the New York session, or even now or tomorrow, if we do get a breakout above or below a level, it's going to trigger me into a trade. I'll already automatically have my stop loss and my take profit in place. And then I come back and I say, okay, the market, break out, did I get triggered in? Or even if I put a buy limit or sell limit order on levels of support and resistance, then yeah, it's a lot more relaxed, and that's why I've really loved this. This is what got me into the markets. This is where I had the time to do it, where I wasn't trading full time, and I wasn't trading during the day. I had a full-time job, part-time job, and then I was going through college, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just look at the markets for a few hours, see if there's any good slow market setups. I've been trying to teach this concept in my slow markets class, and it's a lot. It can be a lot. We have a lot of newer traders. We have traders from all different skill sets who's been trading for so many different years. Some traders been trading for a month, some, a couple years, some 5-10 years. And there's not much material out there that has helped, or at least that I have seen, that trades anywhere similar to this, where you put on orders and then you just let them run overnight, and then you wake up and you see what's happened, and then you can rinse and repeat and do that again. I've been doing some fun scalps in this volatility, kind of like what you just did. Hey, we have the charts up. If there's an opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and take it. And I don't trade like that all the time. It's usually just been a more relaxed setup. Going through some of these questions. This is a good question. I'll let you answer this, and I'll answer this as well. We'll just do a fun little Q&A. First of all, if I'm going to be having you on here a lot more, Nick, I don't want to, as a coach, I never want to be the cause of somebody. It's like one of those things, like right when you think you got out, then I bring you back in, right? Where you're just like, I want to get out of, getting away from the markets, stepping out of the markets. And what would be your goal on joining me for Slow Markets on Tuesday?
It's a good question. I've very much enjoyed the education piece that I'm starting to build with my Sunday night show. And I've even kind of passively spoken to Topstep a little bit behind the scenes of like, hey, it'd be cool if we could do something similar. Like, and you kind of do this too, but somewhat of a midweek check-in where same thing. It's more educational. We do another aspect of like, hey, we're about halfway through the week or whatever it is. Like, let's see what we were talking about on Sunday and where we are now comparatively. So me looking to do this potentially more with you on Tuesday nights, I mean, I would take somewhat of that approach where, we can kind of dissect, hey, we started the week here, Monday and Tuesday are behind us, Wednesday's behind us, whatever day it is. And and just kind of dissect, my plan now and maybe even how it's adjusted over time, over a couple of days as price action rolls everything. So it just would potentially be a way that we can, kind of see how you adapt, like everything in that you and I do. Like you and I flip biases on a minute by minute time frame sometimes, just based on what we're seeing. So it's almost like
that pisses traders off too.
It does. It pisses off the chat all the time, where it's like you and I on Monday, we're like, hey, we're looking short, and then 5 minutes later, hey, now we're looking for a long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was kind of like that today, where that's how the market is. Market can change minute by minute. Something can happen. Market structure changes. And that is something that I've seen a lot of traders struggle with, where they get a biased and they struggle with changing it. I struggle with that sometimes too. My bias is long. Everyone knows that, where I'm playing and having fun with inverse the charts. And
that was funny today, because I looked at that and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a short 100%. Why would you long that?
Exactly.
But I didn't think of it that way until Hogue jokingly inverted it. And then I'm like, then you can see it in a different way. It's like, maybe I am too bearish right now.
Yeah. And a lot of people might think that if it has no use to you, then sure. But yeah, if I was to flip this chart, let's try and do that. So if I inverse it, then I'm looking at this and saying, wow, I want to buy this. And the way I read this chart was, we just made a higher low. We just made a higher high. We came back, tested. Maybe this is a cup and handle. And I'm going to be looking for this breakout and go up. And maybe we could see this hit, this level of resistance. But then you take a minute, you're like, oh, wait, you know what? We need to inverse this. And, oh, wow, it's actually going down. And to me, when I'm looking at this, I'm just so used to buying it sometimes that it's hard to see the other side. Of course, I'm not going to be trading like that, and I'll never advise somebody to trade like that, because it just will mess you up in terms of buy, sell, and the color of the candles and placing orders. It's almost like an inverse yourself. It gives you a different perspective, and I've really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed having you on, Rips on when we come to the market and we're trying to, come to a conclusion for a house account trade, and we have just conflicting biases, which both are very valid. Both can be profitable over a long run. It's just at that moment in time, we're seeing the market at two different ways.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have went short there.
Yeah, we are kind of rolling over a little bit, but we are also, it's the same thing though. You look at that, even on a longer time frame, or even from today, you're like, okay, so we are coming into some aspect of potential resistance at the top of, the early part of the session's range.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at that, yeah, it doesn't scream long.
No, it doesn't. I mean, if you reverse it, then yeah. Inverse it. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to go through. So yeah, everybody in the chat, this is kind of raw, I guess, right where I asked you that question. It's kind of some of the conversation that I would have with you, Nick, behind the scenes, is like, hey, we're going to bring you on Tuesday. What are we looking at getting out of it? What kind of a conversation will we be having? You don't like to actively trade. I don't want to force you to actively trade or bring any stress, because you are a trader. That's your part of your main income. You're on the leaderboard. You're an amazing trader, and a live account, of course. And so without having that pressure on yourself, how would you see a great, Tuesday slow markets? Maybe take a look at some slow markets trade. We could review statistics. Reviewing statistics has been great. We do look at gold at 8 p.m. every night. Gold's been kind of meh lately, and now that we have the debate, I mean, tonight it looks like we're starting to sell off a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidge. What is GC doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. We're starting to sell off from 47 to 44s, and we might continue this sell-off as well. I could see us getting down to maybe 40, 41, but yeah. Well, going back to that question, I just completely forgot what question I asked. Tuesdays,
I think since I am not going to act, I mean, unless who knows if there's a trade and I'm in front of screens and there's an opportunity and it makes sense, I will happily enter it. Just like I did this evening, there was an opportunity to go short. And I did. It worked out. May have sold a little early, but I don't trade Globex. And I'm one of those people that if you are trading it, don't be greedy because it's so illiquid at times and the volume's so low. It's just get your points, get out, come back the next day. When volume's there, you built a little cushion. You can, if you want to size up, if you want to be a little looser with a stop in theory, hey, you've got a little cushion. Don't give it all back. Don't hit a daily loss limit after you started the day green. But with that in mind, if I'm not seeing that opportunity or markets are real slow and there really isn't anything jumping out at either one of us, there's a lot I think we can talk about. There is, like you said, I've enjoyed reading some of the trade reports because I think that's always helpful when there is some relevance to them. If the account's been open for 3 days, there's probably not a great point in us really looking at it because it doesn't tell us a whole lot. But somebody that's been grinding a combine, grinding an XFA, and there's, a good, at least let's call it 5-10 days that we can at least base something off of. I think there's a lot of value there to learn from other traders because you and I talk so much. It's good to also hear and see what other people are doing that are in theory, not throwing size around, throwing, $1,000 to $10,000 days like you and I randomly will. So there, the other, all the other types of traders that exist, and even traders that are trading different markets too, not just the NQ YOLO type trader that is in a combine that we see day in and day out.
Yeah, fair enough. So let's do that. Let's just answer some questions. Let's have a nice, relaxed evening. We'll cut this short. We have everyone's going to be watching the debate. I already see some of the traders in the chat talking about it. It started. I need to prepare for tomorrow, make sure I get some good sleep, and let's go from there. So everybody in the chat, if you'd like us to review your statistics, there is the link. You guys know what to do. You go into that channel, you share the statistics, and we'll review it. We'll talk a little bit of some Q&A here, and then we could call it an evening.
And while we're doing that, the chat was wondering where I got short. So I got short around 852s and change, kind of after we kind of made not a new high, but we're hanging up around like 855s. I was waiting for it to kind of come back a little bit, got short, and I covered around 15 or 16.
Okay. Yeah, I see we have your charts up, and what triggered you into that?
Honestly, just kind of the top of this, whatever you want to call it, this low volume area from today's range, and just a couple other things I see on time and sales and my Motivoid charts that gave me a little confidence that said somebody was stepping on the offer a little bit. So I just jumped in, like I said, and started kind of adding quickly in the 50s, and then got pretty much, what would I say? Once we broke like 840, I was pretty confident in actually holding this for more than a minute or two, and then we got the rollover. So nothing crazy, but I was really looking for, we're looking at my charts, right? Yeah. Us to kind of come back towards the bottom of basically kind of where we were hanging around. If you watch like right at the bell where we saw a bunch of icebergs kind of start to come in, and then we fell back into range. So once we kind of cleared that high and fell in a little bit more, it just gave me the confidence to hold it. Like I said, nothing more than a scalp, but just something I was kind of seeing on time and sales.
Do you have anything on like your chart where you say, I'm going to sell at this exact moment, or do you use a level of discretionary?
It kind of depends. In Globex, it's probably more of a wild card just because volume can be what it is. But during RTH, something I'm going to sell would be like if I got an exhaustion type stop run directly into, an LVN or a previous day high, something, and then we fell back towards the range a little bit, and you saw that confluence of market orders just tripping, and maybe it leaned into an area. I want to say maybe it was like last week. I shorted ES, basically almost top ticked it because all I was leaning on was options data that was going to act as resistance. So if I can get that type of confluence, there was a moment today in ES when we were kind of hanging right around 5,500. I think we kind of topped out 5,501. It was the same thing. It was just basing it off of that lean, but NQ was doing NQ things, which was making me nervous.
Yeah. That's
ES wasn't
definitely
moving.
yeah.
NQ was like making new high after new high on like a 5-minute candle, and I was getting real nervous.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then one more question, and maybe we can have a little bit of a conversation about this before we move on to the statistics and then end it. In the light and in the idea of the political debates, what is your view on politics? Not on your opinion on who you want to win, but as it affects your trading, because we're all traders here, politicians, and this upcoming presidency does have an effect, a big effect on the markets. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of volatility. So let's have that conversation, maybe not just say, hey, I'm voting for this or I have this opinion, because I know that could be a little bit of a touchy subject for a lot of traders and a lot of people. Just how are you viewing your own trading as we go into the election, as we go into like a debate like this, and all of the ups and downs that can happen?
Yeah, I love election season, if that makes any sense, just because the natural volatility that it can bring to the markets. I don't really care. The one thing I do hate about politics, and even just, I would say, all of the talking heads out there, it can make things difficult just because I guess there's so many things that can affect it, and anyone can come out of nowhere and make a claim or, do something, and it can move the markets in a way that I would say is somewhat unconstructive, if that makes any sense, where it just can, it can cause whipsaw and uncertainty and a little bit of chaos, which can be good for traders. I think I make most of my money, if I were to look back at a couple of years, it's always during election season. It's always in October. It's always leading into, the Senate decisions and things like that in each state. Like, there's just a lot that can affect it. And so I welcome this, this when it happens every 2 years, every 4 years for different election cycles, because it can bring that good volatility. But I still hate when, someone says something and it causes, like we were talking about earlier, it can, create rifts and geopolitical things, and it just makes things unable, just gives you the sense of, you feel a sense of like, you're just uneasy, I guess, about entering trades or even putting capital at risk because of what someone can say.
Yeah, it's that unknown, right? That uncertainty that traders do not like. I'm the same thing. Volatility can bring opportunity, and typically that's what we do see. But what with that is just what you said, Nick. Sometimes it's a little bit hesitant. For me, it's like, okay, this could be a very great dip to buy, but then, as of lately, these have not been just buyable dips. They've been just massive, very ugly sell-offs over the past month, and you do not want to be caught into something like that. Yeah. I think that's all I have. I know I'm of the same opinion. Anything that could bring volatility to the market, I'm all for it. We're traders at the end of the day. We're here. We can't make money without volatility. But that being said, let's move into these trading statistics. I just shared them to you here. So this is a trader in an XFA. We'll go ahead and go through this, do a quick summary. I think we could end it early as the debate is on. And I know everyone's, for a lack of a better term, chomping at the bit to go watch it. So P&L, $8,800 in an express funded account. I love to see it. It's nice to see traders making money, making money really quick too. It can be a double-edged sword. You've been there, Nick. I've been there. Mm-hmm. When you start an XFA, you start it really, really well. This trader only has, looks like 6 days in this XFA. So to me, not enough data. Sometimes I don't like to review statistics unless they have 1 month of data to say this can be a fair review and we can actually get some value out of those statistics. So my only advice, and you can feel free to add anything in as I'm going, Nick, but my only advice to this trader is be cautious. So many times have I seen traders have a great start to an XFA or a great start to an account, and then only to have, I don't want to jinx it, but I see it so often, great start, but then end up just, having a 360 because there was just not enough statistics, and traders love to get emotional, maybe overconfident, but so far I do like what I see in this XFA.
Yeah, solid job of digging yourself out of a hole. This looks like on Monday of this week, you're down about 2 grand, bounced back,
Okay.
and closed it out up 6 grand on the day. So that's pretty dang good, especially I guess working with a drawdown of about $1,000, and it looks like you were trading NQ. So yeah, that's a hell of a hole to dig yourself out of, I will say.
Yeah, I have it pulled up now. Yeah, I think I see that Monday where you started off positive and then just down that 2,000, and then just grinded yourself. It looks like there's been a couple good trades on this day where you could see, going to your point, 3 contracts, right? Almost $3,000 with one trade, and then that's a 5,000 point. That's $5,000 banger on the NASDAQ. Was that today, the 9th? No, that was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
That
also, it looks like this wasn't one trade. Like this, because sometimes when I look at these, or people send them to me or whatever, and you took, let's say, this is not one trade that he lost 2,000 or she lost $2,000 on. This is a couple, taking your licks basically is what I'm saying, which I love to see. It's not like somebody throwing on a 3-lot on NQ and an XFA and letting it roll 50 points and hitting a daily loss limit on the day, or $4,500 loss and the count's blown. So the fact that you're taking licks at 10, 15 points, whatever it is, and you're still able to kind of give yourself an at bat, that's pretty huge. Because I think a lot of people, if they hit a DLL or they lose an account, it just makes no sense if you're doing it in a single trade and not able to kind of do what this person did, which is to give yourself another opportunity to get out of it. I operate a lot like that with let's call it, if I'm trading 3 lots, $600 to $1,000, max loss on a trade. Right. But it gives me, in theory, 2 or more than 2. It gives me usually 3 or 4 at bats in the day that I can kind of grind. Now, I tend to be unsuccessful sometimes if I've hit, 2 stop outs on a $3,000 loss limit, like in my live. But you're at least giving yourself another chance to be right. And Dakota, I know you are a more high risk, or you win less trades, but you have a very good, risk reward ratio on your trades. I'm a little more backwards than that, where I would, in theory, win maybe 63% of my trades, but my losers are bigger than my winners sometimes.
Yeah. And they're not independent, right? Like you said,
right.
You could have a high risk reward and a low win percentage, or you could have a low win percentage or a high win percentage, low risk reward, or anywhere in between, right? It's almost like what do they call it? A scale or a balance, where if you take 1 pound off of here and add it to this, and then vice versa, that's exactly what it is. It's going to be balanced no matter what. If you're a profitable trader, it's just like I do this analogy like twice a day, every day, about flipping a coin. That's the reality of trading. There's no right or wrong way when it comes to your risk reward or your win percentage. What's more important is the profit factor. Are you making money? Whether it's a 99% win rate and a very, very negative risk reward, or I think we even seen today during when I did a little bit of a shoulder tap, where we had a trader that was a 20% win rate and a 6-to-1 risk reward. That was great to see. It's great to see both spectrums. To your point, I'm just going through some of these trades, and yeah, it looks like this trader is just not going, big contract size, taking the losses. It looks like biggest loss was like $600. Average loss is about $400 or $500. But then you have these $2,000 winners, $3,000, $5,000 winners that make up for it. So big. That's great to see. Usually you see the opposite, where it's just a lot of wins, and then eventually there's just one big loss sprinkled in there that could just hurt account. But so far so good. Great to see that type of. Great to see those statistics. Let me look. I'm going to take a look at mine real quick, because I don't know where I'm at. Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes to show. Yeah, I'm below 50% on my trade win percentage. Usually it's lower than that. It really is. My trading statistics, my trade win percent is about 30. I would say 35 maybe. Let me see. Yeah, that's about where it's at. My risk reward on this account has just been good this week. Luck, because it hasn't been a lot of days for me. It's only been what? I don't even want to count that. That's what, half a month. Yeah, half a month is what it is. But yeah, risk reward. I love a good risk reward, and that to me is where I'm okay being wrong. And you probably know this just as much as I do, Nick. When you're in front of thousands of traders, it sucks to be wrong, because
it does.
Traders love to criticize.
Love to criticize. And I just know, even though we operate on a 10, 15-second delay sometimes on Topstep TV, I know there's somebody following my trade, or, if it's kind of chopping around, that they're going to get an entry. And then it's like, if you just know somebody else got burned the same way I do, because they're trying to follow, who are half decent traders, you and I, and it doesn't always work out, guys. Dakota win percentage is what it is. Mine is, not going to hit every trade. That's the truth. So don't follow us here. If you are taking similar entries, manage your risk.
Yeah. Not only is it a delay, it's not even their own trade idea, right? Yeah. And then thinking about it in terms of statistics, I do trade not when I'm on Topstep TV as well. And with this amount of low win percentage, you're not going to see all of them. And it's like, if you don't see all of them, maybe I might get a couple good ones while I'm off screen, and the next 20 of them in a row is going to be losers. And so, that's why I always start out every slow markets with that risk disclosure, letting traders know, we all have our own agency, and the last thing we want to do is see traders following us or fading us or whatever. And I know there's been a lot of conversation with that house account, and I know you see it as well, Nick, where traders like, man, we just have to fade the house account and we'll make money. I'm like, yeah, that would make sense. And, lately, if you are watching someone trade and if they're struggling, fading them and you're making money, great. But what's going to happen when things start to turn around and you're continuing to fade them? Or if for some reason that's no longer available for you, are you going to depend on that your entire life?
Yeah.
Or your entire trading career is being dependent on one person?
The important thing, whether we're right or wrong, is to also be listening to what we are trying to articulate, that we see happening with price action, that we see happening of a logic to enter, exit, add to specific trades, because you can also learn a lot, even when we're wrong in the situation. Like, hey, we were seeing X, Y, and Z. We were talking about this potentially happening. It did, or it did not. And you can take knowledge from that rather than, oh, okay, they're long, I'm going to follow the trade. Or I'm going to fade the trade.
Exactly. Yeah. What's going to happen when you don't have that person to copy or follow how they're trading? And I know I even see, and I've watched a couple trading YouTubers. Someone gave me a suggestion, and I can't remember their name. Let me see if I could find it in my history. Trader Tom. Have you ever heard of him?
Not off the top of my head.
I'm sure chat does. Trader Tom. They mentioned me. He wrote the book, I think, The Best Loser Wins. Tom Hogard.
Hogard. I know the book.
Yeah. So I've been watching him a little bit, and then I was watching some other traders, and it surprises me how many traders out there don't actually show their execution and then go through and talk through that. Which that was just so surprising to me. I'm like, wow, Tom Hogard is probably one of the best I've seen on the YouTube. I'd love to see if MP could have a conversation with him and get him. I'd love to have a great conversation with him on here.
Yeah, I love hearing from people on the show that have been in this industry for much longer than I have had a lot more success than I've had over several years. There's been a lot of good content that the Topstep TV team has put out there that is, only available in theory if you can read a book or you pay a lot of money to talk to some of these people. And then getting them in for free on an audience for an hour with somebody like Hogue interviewing them is kind of crazy. And I'm hoping we can continue to see, those type of people, because that's who still I would love to not even pick their brain, but just hear from.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on there. I was watching him, and it's very rarely do you find somebody online who displays that type of stuff. So I would love to see that. I'd love to see him on Topstep TV. Love that we have Peter Tuchman. Love that we have and Topstep's bringing the people on Topstep TV who's like showing that they know how to do this and bringing the traders on the leaderboard, right? On top of that, respecting privacy. Hey, do you want to be on Topstep TV? Here's our casting. Here's the link. Let us know. And if not, that's fine. It's second to none to be able to have that opportunity and be here in front of everybody and learn from people like yourself.
I wish more would. I know everyone's got their reasons. If I was still in my old world, I would probably still be very quiet and private, regardless of what I was doing with Topstep as a trader. And so I totally get it. But I would love to hear from some of the other guys on the leaderboard outside of just you and me talking all the time about just hearing some of their strategy. Or, hey, I think I took a similar trade of one of the other guys on there because he posted it on Twitter. And I saw it, and I just would love to hear his logic on entry, exit, and things like that. Because I took it a similar area, but I managed it a little differently. And hearing from another great trader like that's trading on Topstep is good, and I understand the reasons why.
Oh yeah, Linda was a great one. Andrew A put it. That was an amazing interview. These things are something you would not normally get anywhere else. That one was definitely one of my favorites too, Andrew. Any last closing remarks, Nick? I know we're going to be a little bit early, which is fine. We still ran an hour class, and everyone's going to be excited to go watch the debate. If not, you're already watching it. I'm going to go put it on, maybe get some dinner, get some snacks, and watch the debate and prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for me. It's going to be fun. The team's going to be out there. They're hopefully relaxing as well. Sounds like they're going to be golfing without me. They owe me a round of golf. I'm going to have to get with them, say, all right, I'll do this. We got to play a round of golf one of these days.
Yeah, they need to. I would love to go to Chicago with you or one of these next offsites. Actually, be able to participate with them too. That'd be a lot of fun, especially to meet the team finally behind the scenes that you and I get to interact with, day in and day out.
A round of golf in Vegas. I don't know. Vegas is so freaking hot. I know you're down there in Texas, but
it's
Chicago,
hot here. But Chicago would be nice, just not in February, hopefully.
It's just not in the middle of winter, yeah. Yeah, not in the middle of winter. All right, well, let's just go ahead. I'm going to leave it at that, everybody. I'm excited to be hosting Topstep, doing a Topstep takeover. Going to have my buddy Rips, going to have my buddy Nick. I'm just calling you my buddy, okay, Nick. To be honest, everybody that I do trade with on Topstep TV, I am saying that you're my buddy. I love being on Topstep TV with you guys. I love trading. It's very nice, aside of just being here by myself, alone with the markets and trading. And it's fun to bounce, trades back and forth and opinions and be able to go with that with a group of traders and then help everybody that's in the chat as well.
Yeah, 100%. I love hearing the difference of opinions and just learning from each other too. It's made me a better trader doing this show in some way. I've definitely been more patient and I've walked away more, even when I've been on the show and I, didn't trade a whole lot. I'm probably done for the day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely changed my perspective a little bit.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nick. And I will catch everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Take care and enjoy the debate. The debate. Good night, all.